Hello, today I want to show you how I built my own deck on a budget, step by step with my slideshow. Since we lived on a corner lot, we had this side area of our yard, and I built this deck here. I've come up with a materials list here, and these are some of the main items you'll need. You might want to stop the recording and jot down this list and determine what's important to you. Lighting was important to me, so I've got lighting and electrical wiring in there. Also, you'd need switches and outlets. Those are very important if you want to add any accessories to your deck, so keep that in mind. Next on the list, the tools you'll need will be a mitering saw, cordless drill, a post hole digger, and your primary tools such as wrenches, screwdrivers, your hand tools, your basic hand tools. But most importantly, you'll need your measuring tape and at least a 4-foot level. You got to make that deck level. I would have to say the design of the deck or planning of your deck is the most important part. This is where you'll start. You'll need to take measurements. You'll need to want to know how you're going to use the deck, whether you have to have safety as a concern, as for having handrails involved if you have children or pets that are going to be using this deck, if it's going to be a multi-level deck. There's so many things to think about, and this is the most important step. This was an important step to me because the budget was a very important concern to me. So I started out with a piece of paper that I would carry around in my pocket, and I would keep measuring and modifying my design, and whether I wanted to have a step down on the deck or involve lighting and stuff like that. All this adds into play and calculates onto your budget. So what I did was, after I had my measurements and materials list and all the things I wanted to include, such as lighting and outlets, which is very important, I went to homedepot.com or lowes.com and I priced out the materials. And this is how you can get a basic cost of your deck. It's just an approximate cost, but it keeps you within your budget. Before we started on our project, I had a living room here off the side and a side window and a wall that I wanted to build a fireplace on. So my plan was to construct a fireplace here also along with this deck build, and tear out that window and enlarge it and size it for a door insert. So that put a little kink into my plan, but we soon got started. Here's where the window is on the outside, and immediately following the window you see the wooden fence, which I had to relocate in order to make the size of the area fit the plan of my deck. The window to door conversion went in seamlessly, and so did the fireplace. The fireplace really made that room. I designed the fireplace myself, and I had a contractor build it for me. Right here you can notice we've got our fencing expanded on our lot, and my two dogs, they're anxious for the new deck to be installed, and I'm going to get it started right now. Right here you can see where the door is. The bottom of the door is close to the level of the ground. So I had to dig down about a foot and a half, and that's where I installed the gravel that you saw on the materials list. I put probably about 6 to 8 inches of gravel in that foot and a half that I dug down, so that it would drain properly and not build up water underneath my entry door there. I want you to also keep in mind that all of this deck wood was pressure treated. The framing and the top wood pieces were pressure treated, especially because we're at this height on the ground. Okay, the way I included the second tier of the deck, which is another height up, was on a budget. I use 4x4s, pressure treated, and dug down into the ground at least about a foot and a half, and poured in concrete around them. And how I did the 4x4s was I would cut a L notch in the top of them and then sit the deck on top of that L notch. And then I screwed my 4x4s, the part of the L that was on the side of the 2x6s, into the 2x6s with 2.5 to 3 inch galvanized screws. You'll want to make sure your 2x6s are spaced no further than 2.5 feet apart. I try to keep them 24 inches on center apart. Right here in this picture, I don't have them all placed in set right now. And then also I have other 2x6s going as studs in between them for support and rigidness. I went into this project knowing that I wanted to add features to this deck to make it unique. You know, there's one thing to building a slab, you know, a 8x12 flat deck, and then there's another to where you add lighting and pillars and benches, handrails, and steps. And this is where I incorporated pillars into mine. It takes a lot of extra work, but trust me, it's the wow factor that you want. If you want to include lighting, outlets, and switches, like I feel is important to your deck, what you'll need to get is some coated outdoor Romex electrical cable, and make sure you have coated staples to staple them and attach them to the framing of your deck before you put your top deck boards on. It's very important. This picture shows a few things here. It's very important to have help building a deck. It's not a one-man job. Also, you can see that I use joist hangers for my 2x6s on the framework. You can see that I've built a bench in the background beyond me and some pillars to add some excitement to this deck. Here's where the help comes in handy. When you've got all your special features installed, all your electrical wire installed underneath your framework, it's time for placing the deck boards down and screwing them in. Unfortunately, my little nephew, 5 years old, he's got a Fisher-Price pretend drill. Now, as we take a look at the end result photos, I want to remind you that what's most important is the unique features such as pillars, lighting, outlets, benches, handrails, and multi-deck levels. As you can see, it takes, you know, a few weekends to build all this stuff, but it lasts a lifetime. One last thing I gotta mention, before you put your furniture on there, and start entertaining on this deck, you'll have to wait about a week, and you'll want to get like some Thompson sealer, deck sealer, and I've sprayed mine on with a sprayer I got for about $15–20, and you can spray it on or roll it on, and this will protect your deck for about a year, year and a half, and you'll want to do that repeatedly over the years in order to protect your deck from rainwater, and this will make the rainwater beat up on your deck rather than soaking into the wood of your deck. So that's a very important part of this to keep it lasting a long time. Thank you for joining me on this deck building process, and I hope it helps you out, gives you some ideas, and a method in order to start your project and end it successfully. Goodbye for now.